The frosty morning air stung Jason's face as he rushed out of his apartment. He knew that today could change his fate with an important job interview, and he couldn't afford to be late. Suddenly, his usual bus zoomed past, as if mocking his anxiety. Jason wondered how he could be so clumsy, but there was no time for reflection. He needed to find another way to get to his destination quickly. The next morning, Jason boarded the first bus he could find, just to head toward his interview. The bus was relatively empty, and he chose a window seat, hoping it would calm his nerves. However, as soon as the bus started moving, his attention was drawn to a strange woman sitting at the front. She appeared distressed, frequently glancing around and nervously fidgeting in her seat. Jason tried to focus on his thoughts, but his unease grew as he noticed the woman changing buses at his transfer stop. She took a seat midway through the bus, but within 10 minutes, she moved again, sitting next to Jason. His heart began to race. He noticed that she was increasingly drawing closer, moving her seat and seemingly following him. Jason tried to stay calm, but every time he turned his head, he saw her anxious gaze locking onto him again. When the bus approached the final transfer, Jason, trying to avoid direct contact, switched to another bus, hoping it would help him escape the strange woman. But fate was not on his side. She sat next to him again, as if tracking his every move. Now, she was sitting right beside him, her breath audible. Suddenly, she began whispering in a low, trembling voice, "He must be punished. The one who looks at me like you do." Jason felt a chill run down his spine. The woman was panicked, her hands reaching out to touch him. Fear overtook him completely. His mind raced to find a way out, and without thinking, he pressed the emergency stop button. The bus's red signal lit up, and the vehicle slowed down and stopped at the nearest stop. Jason, with trembling hands, reported the woman's odd behavior to the driver. The driver, noticing Jason's clear anxiety, immediately called the police. The woman, seeing the driver's actions and the tension around her, tried to distance herself from Jason, but her gaze remained persistent and fearful. When the police arrived, they detained the woman without any resistance. Jason explained what had happened and described the woman's behavior. The police quickly discovered that she was wanted in connection with a series of assaults across the city. Her belongings were filled with evidence confirming her involvement in the crimes. As all this was happening, Jason couldn't help but think about how his day had turned so bizarre. After the police concluded their work, he looked at the time and realized he might be late for his interview. But despite the shock of the incident, he decided not to give up. Jason resolved that being late wouldn't stop him from achieving his goal, and he set off for the interview, already knowing that this day would be one he would remember for a lifetime. Jason stepped off the bus onto one of the city's main streets. Where the company office for his interview was located, he felt as if he were in a daze, still shaken by the recent events. The exchange with the police and the incident on the bus seemed like a bizarre nightmare he had just woken up from. His thoughts turned back to the interview, and he began to ponder how this could affect his career. The company he was heading to occupied a spacious building in the business district. The glass and concrete high-rise with its modern facade was one of the most notable in the area. Inside the building, Jason was greeted by a security guard who escorted him to the lobby. He noticed people in business suits passing by, deeply immersed in their tasks, and felt somewhat out of place in his casual attire. In the lobby, Jason saw a large screen on the wall displaying information about upcoming interviews and the office layout. He approached the reception desk, where a friendly yet professional receptionist checked his name on the list and directed him to the appropriate room. When Jason entered the conference room, he was met by a human resources representative and the manager who would be conducting the interview. His mind remained a bit unsettled due to the bus incident, but he focused on showcasing his strengths. The interview began with a series of standard questions about his experience and qualifications. Jason answered them confidently, even though thoughts of the woman and the incident lingered in his mind. Gradually, he began to relax, noticing that both interviewers were showing genuine interest in his background and skills. Hours passed, and the interview came to an end. Jason was grateful that he managed to maintain his composure and demonstrate his abilities despite the recent stress. The manager mentioned that he would be notified of the results within a week. As Jason left the building, he noticed that it was already late afternoon. Although he was pleased that the interview had gone well, he couldn't shake the feeling of disappointment that a day he had planned as a crucial step in his career was marred by the bus incident. On his way home, Jason reflected on how his story of enduring that strange encounter might become part of city folklore. Soon, he saw news headlines reporting the arrest of the woman suspected of a series of assaults. He learned that the bus incident had become a major news story of the day, and his name was mentioned among the acknowledgments to the police. At home, after a long and tense day, Jason decided to take a deep breath and celebrate his small achievement. He understood that his job had been secured but also realized that his life had changed. This day would be remembered for a long time as the day when an ordinary city commute turned into a real trial. Despite the lingering unpleasantness of the bus incident, Jason was relieved that he managed to stay calm and handle the situation. With new opportunities ahead, he felt more confident and ready for the challenges that lay ahead, both in his new job and in life in general. A few days had passed since the bus incident. Jason was adjusting more to his new job, but the events of that day still lingered in his memory. In the evening, after work, he decided to unwind by stopping by a local cafe, popular among city residents for its cozy atmosphere and excellent coffee. The cafe, named Sunny Corner, was a small and inviting place with plush sofas and wooden tables. Jason found a free seat by the window and ordered a cappuccino. As he waited for his drink, he noticed two people sitting at the bar who seemed to be discussing something important. To his surprise, these individuals were not just random patrons. One of them was Detective Michael Rains, who was responsible for investigating the case involving the woman on the bus. The other person was James, a friend of the detective who worked in the media and specialized in crime news. Jason, not expecting to run into anyone from the police, felt intrigued by their conversation. He couldn't help but notice that their discussion was about the very incident he had experienced. Realizing this could be a chance to learn more about the investigation's outcome, Jason decided to approach them and introduce himself. "Hi, I'm Jason," he began as he approached their table. "I'm the one who called the police on the bus and I'd like to know how things are going now." Detective Rains looked at Jason with a smile. "It's great to finally meet you, Jason. We wanted to thank you for your help. This case has been very important for us." James, having listened attentively, added, "I wrote about the incident in my article. Your intervention helped solve crimes and prevent new ones. It's truly an impressive story." They continued their conversation, discussing the details of the investigation and the impact it had on the city. Detective Rains explained that the woman Jason encountered was linked to a series of assaults, and her arrest had prevented further crimes. "We're very grateful for your vigilance," said the detective. "Thanks to you, we were able to gather crucial evidence and eliminate the threat." James, in turn, talked about the public reaction to the article he had published. He mentioned that Jason's story had been met with great interest and recognition, becoming an important topic in local news. "We plan to do a report on the importance of reporting suspicious behavior," James added. "Your story is a great reminder of how each of us can help make our city safer." As their conversation came to an end, Jason felt a sense of pride that his actions had made a significant impact. He received an invitation from the detective and James to an awards ceremony that was set to take place in a week. It was an unexpected but pleasant offer. Leaving the cafe, Jason reflected on how unexpectedly and significantly life could change. He realized that his actions had led to real changes, and it was a reminder that anyone could play a crucial role in their community. Jason was ready for new challenges and knew that future events would be as thrilling and significant as his recent experiences. Jason was settling into his new job and enjoying the stability it had brought. One day, to unwind after a stressful workday, he decided to visit a new clothing store that had recently opened in his neighborhood. The store, named Wardrobe 21, caught his attention with its stylish design and promise of quality clothing at affordable prices. When Jason entered the store, he was pleasantly surprised by the ambiance. The spacious interior was filled with modern clothing, accessories, and a cozy atmosphere that immediately created a sense of comfort. He noticed a new collection of designer clothes on one of the racks and headed over to check out the latest arrivals. To his surprise, he saw two familiar faces in the store. One was Mr. Roberts, the owner of a local electronics store who often helped Jason with his purchases. The other was Elizabeth, who had worked at Techno World and was now here to help organize a promotional event for the new clothing store. Mr. Roberts, noticing Jason, approached him with a cheerful smile. "Jason, it's great to see you. I didn't expect to run into you here. How are you?" Jason was happy to see him and replied, "Hello, Mr. Roberts. I'm doing well, thanks. I just came to check out the new arrivals. How did you end up here?" "We wanted to support the new store," Mr. Roberts explained. "Elizabeth is helping with the promotional event, and I came to see how things are going." Elizabeth, approaching with a smile, added, "Hi, Jason, it's great to see you. We're not just here for the promotion, but also to get to know the local customers better. We have lots of interesting offers and discounts if you're looking to pick something up." As Jason explored the selection, he learned that the new store was running a promotion where every customer had a chance to win a gift certificate. During his shopping, Jason also encountered Julia, a journalist who had been at the cafe the previous week. She was here to conduct an interview with the store owners for her article about new businesses in town. "Jason, it's great to see you again," Julia said. "I'm here to do a small piece on the new store. Do you have some time to chat?" Jason agreed and spent a few minutes with Julia, discussing his impressions of the store and its impact on the local community. In the interview, Jason mentioned that supporting local businesses was important for the development of the area and that he was glad to see such positive initiatives. After the event, Jason felt satisfied. He had purchased a few items, taking advantage of the discounts, and received a pleasant reminder of how small things could bring positive changes to his life. As Jason left the store, he felt that his life had changed not only because of the bus incident but also due to new connections and a positive environment. He was grateful for the opportunities life had given him and continued to appreciate every moment that came his way. On the weekend, Jason decided to spend some time outside the city to escape the daily hustle and enjoy the fresh air. He invited his younger sister, Lisa, who had just returned from university, to spend the day in nature. Lisa was energetic and cheerful, always eager to spend time with her brother, especially after starting her studies in another city. They chose the scenic Forest Oasis National Park, located about an hour's drive from the city. This park was known for its beautiful landscapes, hiking trails, and tranquil lakes. Jason and Lisa arrived at the park early in the morning to make the most of their day before noon. When they arrived, Lisa, as always, was thrilled by the natural surroundings. She immediately ran to the lake to watch the ducks and other local wildlife. Jason, meanwhile, was reflecting on how peaceful and soothing it was to spend time away from the city noise. As they walked along one of the trails, Lisa shared stories about her recent experiences at university and her plans for the future. Their conversation was relaxed and joyful, allowing Jason to forget about the stresses of the past few weeks. Suddenly, they noticed a group of people gathered at a forest campsite. Among them was a peculiar individual who caught Jason and Lisa's attention as they passed by. He looked unusual, dressed in old-fashioned clothing and talking to himself. His behavior drew the attention of not only Jason but also other park visitors. "That looks a bit strange," Lisa remarked. "Do you think we should take a closer look?" Jason nodded. They decided to approach cautiously and find out what was going on. As they got closer, they heard the man talking about plans and some sort of conspiracies. It quickly became clear that his words were disconnected from the surrounding reality. At that moment, a park ranger named Jonathan approached them, having noticed their concern. Jonathan was a tall man in uniform who was attentively monitoring the peculiar visitor's behavior. "Hello," Jonathan said. "It looks like you've noticed our guest. We've already called for support and are waiting for the police to arrive. In the meantime, please keep your distance and avoid getting involved." Jason and Lisa moved away while the police arrived. The strange individual was taken away, and everything in the park returned to normal. Jason was grateful to the ranger for his swift response and protection of the park visitors. "It's good that everything turned out okay," Jason said to Lisa as they returned to the lake. "It seems like you can encounter unexpected things everywhere." Lisa nodded and added, "Yeah, but it's good that we noticed it in time and reported the strange behavior. Better to be vigilant." After the incident, Jason and Lisa spent the rest of the day in the park, enjoying the natural beauty and each other's company. They walked several trails, fed the ducks, and had a picnic by the lake. Despite the minor incident, the day was very pleasant and rejuvenated Jason, reminding him of the importance of taking time for relaxation and the simple joys of life. Returning home, Jason felt that the day had been full of positive emotions and unexpected events. He was grateful for the support and care shown by those around him and felt that his life was continuing in the right direction. The following week, Jason was once again immersed in the routine of work and daily chores. On Friday evening, to unwind from his hectic schedule, he decided to spend the night with his college friend, Matt. Matt had been a longtime friend and classmate whom Jason hadn't seen in several months. Knowing that Matt loved sports events, they agreed to meet at a local football match scheduled for that Friday evening. The game took place at a stadium renowned for its vibrant atmosphere and large crowds. Jason and Matt met at the stadium entrance, collected their tickets, and headed to their seats in the stands. The atmosphere was festive, and Jason, recalling how long it had been since he attended a sports event, felt his fatigue dissipate. "Jason, it's so great to see you again," Matt said, giving his friend a hug. "How have you been? I'm glad we could find time to meet up." "Hey, Matt, everything's great, thanks. I really missed these games. How about you?" "Great. Listen, I have something interesting to share with you," Matt continued. "I'm involved in a project related to organizing sports events and matches. We're planning to open a new venue for sports fans and are looking for partners to help with the launch. I think your experience and perspective could be really valuable." Jason was surprised by the proposal. Matt went on, "We need people who understand how to create a unique experience for fans and bring something new to event organization. I think you'd be interested in this project." During the match, Jason and Matt continued discussing the details of the new project. Matt explained that the new venue would combine sports broadcasts, food and drinks, and host various events and parties for fans. He proposed that Jason become one of the consultants for organizing and developing the concept. By the end of the match, Jason was full of excitement and new ideas. He was thrilled to receive such an offer and recognized it as a great opportunity to apply his skills and experience in a new field. "This sounds incredible, Matt," Jason said. "I'm really interested. When can we meet to discuss all the details?" "Great," Matt replied. "Let's set up a meeting for next week. We'll go over all the details and plans." Jason felt that this new opportunity was opening new horizons and challenges for him. He was eager to take part in the project and contribute to creating a unique venue for sports fans. After meeting with Matt, Jason returned home full of enthusiasm and anticipation. He was grateful for the new opportunities that had arisen in his life and felt that each new day brought something significant and exciting. The evening at the stadium and Matt's proposal became bright events in his life, reminding him that many new prospects and adventures lay ahead. The week flew by quickly, and Jason was engrossed in preparing for his new project for the sports venue. He met with Matt to discuss the details, and they laid out a plan that promised to be exciting and ambitious. However, Jason had another important event on his schedule for the day. On Saturday, Jason decided to meet Anna, an old friend who had just returned from a trip across Europe. They agreed to meet at the popular Café Retro Taste, known for its cozy interiors and excellent cuisine. Anna was not only a friend but also someone with whom Jason had shared many memories and experiences. When Jason entered the cafe, he noticed that Anna was already sitting at a window table. She was in high spirits, and her cheerful face immediately lifted Jason's mood. "Jason, it's so great to see you," Anna exclaimed. "I'm so happy to be back and to meet up with you. How are you?" "Hi, Anna, it's great to see you too," Jason replied, sitting down at the table. "I'm doing well. Lots of work, but it's all going well. How was your trip?" Anna began to recount her adventures, and the conversation quickly turned to more personal topics. She mentioned that during her travels, she had met some interesting people and even found herself in a peculiar situation at one of the museums, where she came across a mysterious exhibit that intrigued her. "That sounds fascinating," Jason remarked. "I've always thought that travel can open up new perspectives." Their conversation was pleasant and relaxing, with Anna continuing to share her impressions. Soon, she mentioned that she wanted to show Jason something she had brought back from her trip and handed him a small sealed envelope. "This is for you," she said. "I thought you might appreciate it." When Jason opened the envelope, he found an old, strange map marked with mysterious places and symbols. Anna explained that the map was part of a collection at one of the museums she visited. She didn't know what it meant but decided to give it to Jason to figure out on his own. "I'm not sure what this means," Anna said, "but it seems to me that the map could be related to some historical event or mystery. What do you think?" Jason pondered as he examined the map. It looked quite ancient and enigmatic, with locations that seemed odd to him. He couldn't shake the feeling that it might be a key to something larger. "It's definitely intriguing," Jason admitted. "I'll try to figure it out. Maybe it will lead to something interesting." Anna nodded and smiled. "I hope you find something exciting. I'd love to hear about it." After their meeting, Jason returned home with the map in hand and his mind full of thoughts. He spent the night studying the map, trying to decipher what it could mean. He felt that it might be the beginning of something significant and possibly even dangerous. The next morning, Jason decided to visit the city library to find information about the places and symbols marked on the map. He was ready to dive into the investigation, unaware of the unexpected discoveries and new dangerous situations that awaited him. The day after Jason received the mysterious map from Anna, he decided to visit the city library to research the symbols and locations indicated on it. The library was a cozy old building with high ceilings and shelves filled with books. Jason spent several hours poring over books and archives, trying to find any information that could explain the enigmatic places marked on the map. He examined historical books, maps, and documents but found nothing specific. As time passed, Jason felt his focus beginning to wane. He decided to take a break and visit his grandfather George, who had recently moved to town and lived nearby. George, a retired military man, enjoyed spending time in his garden. He was experienced and always happy to spend time with his grandson, engaging in interesting activities or discussing his latest discoveries. When Jason arrived at his grandfather's house, he found him in the garden, tending to the plants. Grandpa George greeted him with pleasure. "Jason, what a pleasant surprise. How are you?" he asked, wiping his hands on a towel. "Hi, Grandpa. I'm good, thanks," Jason replied. "I was at the library today and found something interesting, but nothing has become clear yet." Jason told his grandfather about the mysterious map and his search for information. Grandpa, though elderly, showed great interest and offered his help. "A map, you say? It could be something significant. When I was younger, I did some historical research. Perhaps I can help you." After lunch, Jason and George settled in the chairs on the porch and began studying the map together. Jason pointed out the locations and symbols he had found. George examined the map carefully and remained silent for a while, deep in thought. "You know, this map reminds me of some old documents I saw many years ago," George said. "Some of the symbols and names might be connected to local legends and historical events." Grandpa suggested Jason explore old archives and local museums, where there might be documents and artifacts related to the city's history. He also recalled some old books and records that could be useful for solving the mystery of the map. "There's an old museum in town that recently opened new exhibits," George proposed. "Perhaps there's something there that can help us understand this." Jason was grateful for the advice and decided that he would visit the museum the next day to learn more. He was full of enthusiasm and felt that he was getting closer to unraveling the mystery. As he said goodbye to his grandfather, Jason felt hopeful about finding more information. That evening, he returned home and began preparing for his visit to the museum. His anticipation and excitement grew with each passing hour, as he knew something important lay ahead. The next morning, in the museum hall, Jason discovered new exhibits that he hoped would shed light on the mysteries of the map. But as he stood before one of the display cases, he noticed a strange figure in the shadows. Someone standing nearby and watching him clearly did not want to attract attention. Jason felt his heart race. The sensation of being watched was persistent, and he realized it might not be a mere coincidence. The mysterious figure's gaze briefly met his, and Jason sensed that he was facing yet another challenge. Meeting the stranger's eyes, he understood that the map's secrets might be linked to something far more dangerous than he had anticipated. As Jason continued his investigation, he noticed that the mysterious figure had vanished. His mind was filled with speculations and questions about who could be following him and why. With each step he took through the museum, the map's enigmas grew more complex, and the hidden threats became ever more real. The next day, still troubled by the mysterious figure he had noticed in the museum, Jason decided he needed help to continue his investigation. He thought of his mother, Lisa, who had recently started working at a research lab and had experience with various documents and archives. Jason hoped her professional skills could be useful in solving the mystery of the map. Like her son, Lisa was passionate about history and often assisted him in searching for information. She was meticulous and cautious, qualities that had always helped Jason in challenging situations. That evening, Jason visited his mother at the lab, located in an old building in the city center. The lab was equipped with modern computers and archival systems and housed a collection of rare books and documents. Lisa was working at her desk, deeply engrossed in her tasks, when Jason arrived. "Hi, Mom," Jason said, approaching her desk. "I need your help with a mysterious map I found. Something strange happened at the museum yesterday, and I think you might be able to help." Lisa looked at the map Jason handed her, and her eyes lit up with interest. "Oh, this looks like something special. I've seen similar maps in old archives. Give me a bit of time, I'll see what I can find," she replied. For several hours, Lisa studied the map and related documents. Jason noticed she was completely absorbed in her work and made notes from time to time. "Jason, look at this," she said, pointing to the computer screen. "I found some matches with historical records about ancient artifacts and locations that might be connected to the map. Some symbols correspond to images found in old texts." "That's great, but why was someone following me at the museum yesterday?" Jason asked, trying to mask his concern. Lisa looked at him with a worried expression. "Perhaps someone else is searching for what's on this map. It might be something really important, and I'm afraid we need to be cautious." They continued their research late into the night. Lisa discovered that the map indicated locations that could be linked to ancient rituals and historical events in the city. These revelations only deepened the sense of mystery. When they finished their research, Lisa suggested that Jason not delay and visit one of the locations marked on the map, which seemed to be the most significant. It was in an old, abandoned building on the outskirts of town, an area Jason had heard many stories about but had never visited. "This might be the key to solving the entire mystery," Lisa said. "But be careful. If someone else is looking for this place, they could be dangerous." Jason was determined to uncover the truth and decided to head to the location the next morning. However, before he left, Lisa reminded him of an important point. "Remember, Jason, it's not just about finding what's hidden in that building but also discovering who else might be interested. Stay alert." As Jason prepared for the investigation the next day, he realized his plans had new elements. Preparing to visit the abandoned building was just the beginning, and he felt that something more dangerous and unexpected awaited him in the near future. That night, Jason pondered possible scenarios and prepared for the next day's visit. A sense of unease lingered, and he became increasingly certain that he was about to face serious challenges and potential dangers that could change his life forever. The next morning, as Jason set out for the abandoned building, he was unaware that something else was lurking behind him. Inside the building, he was about to encounter an unexpected turn of events that could alter all his perceptions of the mystery that had been haunting him. The next morning, Jason arrived at the abandoned building on the outskirts of town marked on the map. The structure looked deserted, with dusty windows and a partially collapsed door. The air was filled with the smell of age and mold. Jason felt he was on the brink of something important and possibly dangerous. He stepped through the broken door and found himself in a dark corridor, where only the sound of his footsteps disturbed the silence. As he ventured deeper, he noticed ancient frescoes on the walls and dusty items left in haste. Soon, he came across a door leading to a basement. Opening it, Jason saw several metal shelves lined with ancient books and artifacts. This level of the building appeared to be a repository full of secret documents. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Jason froze, listening carefully. He sensed that someone else was in the building. He continued cautiously through the space until he saw a figure standing by one of the shelves. The figure turned out to be his father, Robert, who, it turned out, was familiar with the place. Robert was a well-known historian and archaeologist, and it appeared he had also been searching for answers related to the mysterious map. "Dad?" Jason exclaimed in surprise, approaching him. "What are you doing here?" Robert turned around, his face illuminated by the light of the flashlight Jason had accidentally turned on. "Jason," Robert replied with relief, "I'm glad to see you. I followed you when I realized you were investigating this map. The building is indeed full of secrets, and I was worried you might come across something dangerous." Robert explained to Jason that he had also found the map several months ago but lost track of it until he saw Jason with the same clues. It was connected to the ancient mysteries of the city, and Robert was confident that this was where he could find the key to solving them. They continued their exploration together and soon came across an ancient book hidden among the artifacts. The book contained detailed records of ancient rituals and mysterious symbols indicated on the map. Robert explained that these records might be the key to unraveling the entire mystery. But soon they felt that someone else was present in the building. The sound of footsteps and a faint glow coming from another room drew their attention. Jason and Robert quickly moved in that direction and discovered an old safe containing valuables and documents confirming the existence of an ancient secret. When they opened the safe, they found not only treasures but also crucial evidence that could shed light on the long-standing mystery. Robert told Jason that this discovery was significant and could change the understanding of the local history. But their joy was short-lived. Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching. It turned out that someone else knew about the hidden secrets of the building and did not want them to be discovered. "We need to get out of here," Robert said, glancing around anxiously. "We'll discuss everything in detail later." Jason and Robert, taking the documents and artifacts with them, hurried to leave the building. When they emerged onto the street, they saw an unknown figure retreating into the darkness. Watching them from afar, back home, Jason and Robert discussed their findings. It turned out that the secret they had uncovered was connected to ancient traditions and rituals that still influenced the life of the city. With the mystery solved, Jason and his father concluded that their discovery was not only important for them but also for the entire history of the city. They decided to work on making this discovery accessible to the public, so more people could learn about the rich heritage of their region. As the case closed, Jason felt that he had finally found his place in the world and that the mysteries of the past could bring not only dangers but also valuable knowledge. The mystery was solved, but its consequences would continue to affect his life and the lives of those who shared this adventure with him.